What's up, YouTube? This is Around the Web, where we watch creepy, strange, and mysterious videos from all over the web that'll probably keep you up at night and have you questioning everything. If you like this type of content and you want to see more, feel free to subscribe, spam that like button, and boost me up on the algorithm, because my last video only got about 30 views, and I bet you guys didn't think I was going to make another video. But I believe in myself like I believe in a lot of these videos, so I'm going to continue to do it. And in saying that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. There's going to be more to come. Let's take this trip. Let's go. So I knew about the spider since like high school, but the pyramid and the alien face, I don't know about that. Do your own research, but I think that's cap.
The Easter Island statues, one of the things they found, that the heads that are above the surface are just a tiny part of it. Do you think that it's just natural erosion that covered up everything else?
It's not so much erosion, it's the deposition of sediment over time. And you can see the dark bit is the bit that was above ground. And then they dig down and they find that it goes down 30 feet underground. And this is not as a result of being exposed by erosion. This had to be excavated in order to reveal it. And the issue is, if this thing is only 700 years old, which is something that archaeologists often say, how do you get 30 feet of sedimentation on this tiny island? It looks like a much longer period.
Easter Island's fascinating. I don't even know how they got those things there with no trees or anything on the entire island. But they said 30 feet deep. That is wild.
Wait. Say that last sentence again.
Everything that we see is a projection of what's happening within our own mind, our own conscious, and all of the conscious together. That's what God is. God is not someone off up in the sky that's preaching down, looking down, and be like, you sin, electrical, you're going to hell. No. God is a collective consciousness of everyone. I'm God, you're God. Everyone here is God.
Okay. Now, if what you say is right, that I cannot perceive reality, I just make up reality in my head with my perception.
It doesn't mean you make it up, but you are able to interpret the reality differently than how you might interpret it right now. It doesn't mean that it's just, made up. It's how you perceive things.
Really? Well, then where does your rational mind come from?
My rational mind comes from my consciousness.
What does that mean?
My consciousness is basically how, from birth, my life perceives all of the information around it. I'm sure you know of the Trinity, body, mind, and spirit. When we're born, we are born with the spirit, the new mind, and a new body. So we have the collective consciousness, which is the spirit, which is in all of us. The body is the physical way that we experience the reality, and the mind is the mind that interprets it.
So it looks like the student was low-key kind of stumping the professor. But I agree 100%. Perception is everything. We're all living our own life and experiencing life through our own eyes. So what you perceive may not be what I perceive.
You guys all remember Palm Beach Pete, right? You know Palm Beach Pete? And why do I ask that? Because Palm Beach Pete is running for mayor of Palm Beach.
First off, I don't know if I want a guy that looks like Jeffrey Epstein being in any type of political anything, especially with all this viral stuff going on that he might be Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know about that.
County, Florida. And the Florida Department of Elections had him submit his DNA. And Florida came back with a different result than Palm Beach Pete was wanting to hear. Have a listen to this for yourself.
Guys, it's Palm Beach Pete, and I'm really pissed. I got a letter from the Division of Elections from the state of Florida regarding the irregularities concerning my DNA test. And they're asking me to suspend my campaign and take a step back. I'm not going to suspend the campaign. I'm getting legal involved, but I'll be back. I'm going to be traveling for a while, so you're not going to see me around for a bit. But I'll make the best mayor Palm Beach ever had.
So basically, the Florida government just told him that he immediately needs to withdraw his candidacy for mayor of Palm Beach. And once again, this is all because of the results that came back from his DNA test. Allegedly, he's been told that he needs to take another DNA test. And their claim is, allegedly, that the results are going to cause some sort of confusion. What kind of confusion can be caused by this? He is Palm Beach Pete, right? So if he's just Palm Beach Pete, what is all the fuss about? Why withdraw his candidacy? I mean, should they make the results of the DNA test public so everyone can decide for themselves as to what is actually going on? What in the DNA test could possibly stop him from running or taking the office of mayor of Palm Beach County, Florida? So let me know your thoughts on what you think it could possibly be and why are they asking him to withdraw his candidacy from mayor of Palm Beach County? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always,
I wonder what those results say. That is big. And matter of fact, Palm Beach Pete actually did look a little pissed, but I say make him public. See what's going on.
Do you know that we are the only creatures in existence that wait until we get adults to start trying to become an adult? Every other creature learns how to be an adult version of themselves as soon as they're born. I was watching the other day, the horses was born. Yeah, it wasn't no bottles.
They're just immediately.
It wasn't no swaddling. No, you get up and they walking immediately. They not doing good, but hey, you born, walk. And every creature learns how to be the adult version of themselves starting at birth. Right. Imagine how much more effective we'd be if we started learning how to be a wife and a mother at a young age, and a father and a husband. That technically was the way we used to do it before we were kidnapped and Caucasianized by the enemy. Yes. We had something called the rites of passage. There was always three common things that you see among the rites of passage. Number one, you had to prove an act of valor. You had to show you had courage, because they knew then that cowards cannot keep their nation going. So females and males had to do something. Male might have to go kill a lion, bring it back. Female might have to cross burning coals. Everybody had to do something to prove they had courage. The other thing, they would give twigs to each one, showing them that this represents you all as individuals. But 30 of you all in this group, here's 30 twigs, see if you can break them. Nobody would break them. What was the message? When you're alone, you're easily defeated. But whenever we're together, no outside force can break us. Unity. Right. And the other one, universal. Among all rites of passage, every young boy had to prove, in theory, that he knew what it meant to be a father and a husband before he could be called a man. And every female had to do the same. So we need the rites of passage.
So I don't know what he meant by Caucasianized by the enemy, but I do know that bringing the rites of passage back in some aspects would be good. Teaching kids what they need to learn. Like I went to high school. I didn't know anything about tax. I wish they would have taught me about taxes, about my credit. Why wouldn't you teach a lot of these things in school where we can pick it up and master it early on? So when we get of age, we can focus our mind and our brain power on other things. I don't know. If you guys agree, let me know in the comments below.
For example, you guys have to fill up gas in your car, right? Obviously, there'll be a gas station worker. Obviously, you guys want to buy houses in the game or rent houses in the game. There's going to be landlords. There's going to be real estate agents. There's going to be all that type of shit. There's going to be police officers, obviously. There's going to be medics. There's going to be there's going to be hospital people.
What?
So what you're going to see is cloaking. When applying a small electrical current to glass or crystal, look what happens. It disappears.
The data centers are a cover-up. Let me explain. If you had a giant subterranean underground city and you needed to get large amounts of fresh water to it, how would you do that? You couldn't just take it. People would revolt. But if you convinced them that it was necessary and that the water was needed for data centers that would create jobs and a massive influx of money for the local economy, maybe people would think about it. I think our government knows about an event that's about to unfold. What that event is, I have no idea. But with all the dead space scientists, one can put two and two together. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
It's a baby. Maybe this one. What? She's saying weird stuff. There's another one. Another one of what?
You know where you are?
Oh, I made him wait so long.
Who'd you make wait so long?
Why are you taking the same thing
What happened? Sound like you want to get something out that you need to say.
Over here.
Mm-hmm. Let me see.
There's another one.
Another one what? She keeps pointing up at the ceiling.
What are you seeing, huh?
What's up there?
I've been too many and savvy.
You know, actually, the word got back to me. So about 2 years ago, the U.S. government was using my music to actually use torture techniques on people. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I wish I could say.
Which one?
All of them.
What's it? Hit us.
Well, this one specifically. So Life Goes On was one, and then Miss You, and then there was Alien Boy and Hurt.
Would you say your music is comparable to being tied down and forced to eat shit while your children are tortured?
Well, it's funny you actually asked that. So, there was a something that came back to me, and apparently the U.S. military was using it for torture techniques.
That makes complete sense. I mean, so did they pay you? Did they pay you for that?
I believe I get money off the streaming revenue from Spotify. I don't think I'm getting paid directly, as in like on the back.
How crazy is it that you are working with Elon Musk, today's Tesla?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when Tesla died, it was your genius uncle that was sent to try to figure out what papers should be kept. And
Isn't it grand?
How crazy is that?
Actually, so my uncle was a great, brilliant man, my father's brother. My father was working very hard to put my uncle through MIT and all that. And when my uncle graduated, he was so brilliant that MIT said, why don't you stay here and become a professor?
It's crazy.
Which is pretty good. He 3 different degrees.
Yeah.
It really was amazing. But as he went through life, he was very successful as a professor at MIT, but he was also very successful at other things, like discovering genius things. And the United States government gave him an assignment of finding out whether or not Mr. Tesla was the real deal, or was he not the real deal? In other words, was he really great, or was he just an average guy? And my uncle did a report on it, and you know what was nice? He said he was really great. A lot of people in that position would be jealous.
Yeah.
But he actually said he was great.
And here you are, working with today's Tesla.
That's right.
That's so great.
And Elon's a great guy, too.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
One family lineage has touched some of the greatest technology, controlled some of the greatest countries, and made some of the greatest business deals known to man, not to mention all the Rothschilds and the other people. If you know, you know.
Do you remember when Michael Jordan's dad was kidnapped and the kidnappers made Michael Jordan quit the NBA and start playing baseball? And then when he sucked at baseball, they killed his dad? I do. I'm Mel Z. I talk about death, true crime, and dark pop culture lore, so if you're a weirdo too, follow me. Okay, so it didn't exactly happen like that, but for some reason, that's how I remember it. But turns out the actual truth of it is much darker and way more senseless. James Jordan Sr. wasn't just Michael Jordan's father. He was one of the most important people in his life. A military veteran, mechanic, husband, and father of 5, James was deeply involved in his son's career from the very beginning. On July 23rd, 1993, James was driving home through North Carolina. At some point during the trip, he pulled over to rest in his car. While he was sleeping, 2 teenagers noticed his car. The red Lexus was a gift from Michael Jordan and carried a distinctive personalized license plate. Police believe they intended to rob him, but instead James Jordan was shot and killed. The teens stole the car and dumped James's body in a swamp. For weeks, his family had no idea where he was, and about 2 weeks later, a body was discovered. When the suspects realized the cops were likely after them, they looted the car, taking several of James Jordan's prized possessions, including Michael Jordan's 1986 NBA All-Star ring and an NBA championship watch that Michael had given his father as a gift. Then they drove the car to the woods, stripped it, vandalized it, and left it there. Later, one of the teens filmed himself rapping while wearing the watch and ring. Investigators traced several calls that were made from James's car phone, and those calls led police to 2 18-year-olds, Larry Demery and Daniel Green. Both men were eventually convicted of murder and robbery and received life sentences. Demery later claimed that the shooting wasn't supposed to happen and that Green was the one who actually pulled the trigger. Green has maintained for years that he was not responsible and has continued to challenge the conviction. Much of the evidence was mishandled, including James Jordan's shirt, which at some point was buried outside of a police warehouse, reportedly with no bullet hole in the chest. Once it was dug up, they found a bullet hole. For Michael Jordan, the loss was devastating. Just a few months later, he shocked the sports world by retiring from basketball. One of James Jordan's longtime wishes was for Michael Jordan to play professional baseball. Michael later said that after his father's death, playing baseball felt like a way to honor him. In February 1994, Michael signed a minor league contract with the Chicago White Sox. He returned to basketball in 1995, and a conspiracy was born. The theory goes that Michael Jordan was actually suspended from the NBA for gambling, and that he used baseball as a cover-up. That's what some people think, but who knows? More than 30 years later, the murder of James Jordan Sr. remains one of the most talked about and tragic stories in sports history.
What people do for money is disgusting. Why would you unalive this man for a ring and a watch? They literally seen the car, did what they had to do for a ring, a watch, and dumped this man's body in a swamp. That is actually wild. It's sad.
Holy hell, guys, you need to see what is happening in Albania right now. They are witnessing their largest protest that the country has seen in over 35 years. And what started as just demonstrations against the Ivanka Trump and Jared Krishna resort that they were trying to build on that island and also in Albania has now turned into much wider anti-corruption protests that they've been saying is been happening in the country for years. And this is their 23rd day in a row of taking to the streets. And that's not even the craziest part, because we're seeing this movement get so much support that expats from Albania living in other parts of Europe, they've driven back in these motorcades to stand with their countrymen to join this protest of over 100,000 Albanians on Saturday night. And there's even footage of some civilians breaking through these barriers and pushing facilities that would be used to build this Trump resort down a hill. So this Trump resort situation seems to be the straw that has broken the camel's back, and now this has just exploded into something so much bigger. They're demanding that their prime minister resigns immediately, or else these protests will only escalate.
See, not everybody likes Trump. But in all seriousness, I hope the people in Albania are safe. It seems like the only way for people's voices to be heard is, sad to say, but cause havoc and cause mayhem. And if I was that prime minister, I think I would be making my exit sooner than later, because nowadays they know how to get rid of you in many different ways.
The license plate has 5G on it. There's 5G on your license plate now. You see it? It's 5G. Wireless tracking.
I was wondering how police officers can scan license plates with only seeing just a small portion of it. That explains a lot.
Holland kicked this ball so hard, it briefly became a pancake. This frame reveals something incredible. Sports scientists classify football impacts into 3 distinct deformation tiers. Tier 1, a gentle pass barely changes the ball's shape before it springs back. Tier 2, a standard shot flattens the ball noticeably as the air inside is squeezed under pressure. Then there's Tier 3, and that's Holland's shot. For a split second, nearly half of the football disappears into itself. Squashing a ball that much requires an elite power strike traveling at around 100 kilometers per hour. And then there's this, which barely qualifies as Tier 0.
So I haven't watched much of the World Cup, but I have heard that that guy made 2 goals off 2 different people's faces. So I don't know if he's aiming for people's faces or what, but the ball hitting that guy's face full force, that's gotta hurt. Low-key a concussion.
It's been a while since I've found it, but here it is.
That sounded like a bulldozer or something. I don't know. That might have been cat.
What does, the paralegal do at a law firm? They do discovery, which is essentially pattern recognition, which is very easy for AI to do. Similarly, entry-level people at accounting firm, right? All that is going to mean white-collar work. College-educated graduates are going to have a more challenging job environment.
Well, when you improve productivity, you can make more, and so it shouldn't mean, if you get less productive, that's bad, and if you get more productive, that's good. It means you can free up these people to have smaller class size, or have longer vacations, or to help do more. So it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing that AI is taking everybody's jobs. I literally just got into an Uber where the Uber driver was telling me that he is terrified of the Waymo cars because he's going to lose his job. He just doesn't know when. Like he said, though, we could possibly take longer vacations, but how? Nobody's making money. Universal income? Who knows?
Your moles are a hidden map of how slowly you're aging. And the more of them you have, the younger your body is on the inside. People spend their lives wishing they had fewer, but they have it backwards. Researchers compared people covered in moles to people with barely any and found something nobody expected. The people with more than 100 moles had a biological age 6 to 7 years younger than the people with under 25. Same birthday, completely different aging speed. The reason is your telomeres, the protective caps on the ends of your DNA that get shorter every year and control how fast your cells age. People with lots of moles have longer telomeres, which means slower aging in your heart, your muscles, your bones, everywhere. Your moles fade as you get older. So keeping a lot of them is a sign your whole body is aging in slow motion. The biggest thing that shortens those telomeres after genetics is chronic stress. The neural reset protocol lowers the stress load that is quietly aging you. Tap the link in my profile.
Liquor, alcohol is called what? Spirits. And the reason it's called that is because when you drink it, it numbs your body. It makes you, go numb in the mind, and it allows these different spirits that are just waiting for a vessel to temporarily jump in and do whatever they want.
Correct.
That's why a lot of people do some shit, be like, I don't remember that at all. It's because it wasn't you. Anyway, so he had been drinking.
Hold on. Say that one more time.
So when you drink, people drink and get real drunk, and they'll say the next day,
they'll black out.
They'll black out.
That's the word I always hear. I blacked out.
Oh, I have some serious ass stories about that. And they'll go, I don't remember none of that. It's because it wasn't them. Temporarily, it allowed these, twisted spirits to jump in, do some fucked up shit, jump back out. They jump all over the place.
People end up pregnant, killing somebody, hurting somebody, saying something they shouldn't have said.
One of my clients was a girl. She ended up killing her child because she had a possession after a night of drinking.
I stopped drinking heavy a long time ago. I have heard a lot of people say that they black out, or when they drink, it brings the monster out, or the monster comes out when they drink. I don't know. What do you guys think?
During the recent earthquakes in Venezuela, security cameras captured a terrifying race against time. Several people can be seen sprinting down the final flights of stairs as the building starts shaking violently. Seconds later, the entire structure starts collapsing behind them, reducing it to a massive pile of rubble as they escaped by mere moments. The powerful earthquakes caused widespread devastation across the country, destroying thousands of buildings and leaving more than 1,000 people dead, with many more displaced or injured. This was the moment a man was in serious danger of becoming a polar bear's next meal. After spotting the massive predator charging toward him, he sprinted for his snowmobile as the bear rapidly closed the distance. Just as he managed to start the engine, the roar of the snowmobile made the bear hesitate for just a split second. That brief pause gave him just enough time to speed away to safety. Polar bears are the only bears known to actively stalk and hunt humans as prey, making encounters like this among the most dangerous in the animal kingdom.
I'll tell you right now, if that bear started chasing me, I would have been out of there.
In 1995, Mr. T was diagnosed with T-cell lymphoma. True to his larger-than-life personality, his first reaction was to joke, "Can you imagine that? Cancer with my name on it. Personalized cancer." After undergoing years of chemotherapy and radiation, he beat the disease and has remained cancer-free ever since. In 1976, a camper near the Gaines Rock Pit in the Florida Keys was approached by a hippie-looking stranger who offered to show him a human skeleton for 25 cents. After seeing the partially decomposed remains, the camper immediately contacted authorities. The victim was eventually identified as 15-year-old Stephanie Sempel, who had disappeared months earlier after hitchhiking to the Florida Keys. Nearly 50 years later, Stephanie's murder still remains unsolved.
What were you doing that you needed 25 cents to show this body? The things that people do for money is disgusting.
Theory that the Hansa virus is just a cover-up because so much stuff is coming about the Disney cruises.
Yeah. Wait, what happened on Disney
cruises? It's low-key tied to Epstein. I think a couple episodes back, I mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell used to work for Disney Cruises. Yeah. And one of the stops used to be Little St. James, Epstein's Island.
Yeah. What? That was a Disney cruise stop?
Yes. Yo, they used to go snorkeling there. What's so insane is Ghislaine Maxwell is seen in pictures at Disney Cruises being one of the coordinators, fam.
Oh, hell.
And then just recently, this is news literally last week, that Disney Cruises are being investigated for child videos. They're being investigated right now, all about that shit. You know why they chose to do it on Disney Cruises?
Why?
Because at sea is one of the places you can make people go missing. One of the most popular ways for you to hide a death or even make yourself go missing is at sea.
Oh my god.
Yes. Because if somebody's missing at sea for a certain amount of days,
you're not gonna find them. It's impossible.
Eventually, it will be.
I can only imagine the horrors that's happened on that island, not to mention Ghislaine Maxwell being the coordinator. There are some sick people in this world. Be careful.
People are being found ripping raw flesh apart on the side of the road with their bare teeth and face covered in red liquid, and many are leaving the eerie warning that what they are eating doesn't look like an animal. People were terrified after footage leaked of a woman crouched on the side of the road in broad daylight, tearing into something stringy and raw that people are describing as tissue pulls from a body. Eyes wide open with seemingly no one behind them, not reacting to anything around her as if she is no longer there, and people are warning this is spreading. As Hot 2 reports show that this has already spread to Miami as a man was found feeding on another person on the side of a highway. Authorities fired at him to then him going down, getting back up, and still continuing to eat, and people are warning that they cannot get away from this. But it gets much darker as a longer video has now surfaced filming the woman on the side of the road gutting and shredding the flesh from the inside with her hands, dragging pieces of it down the road, and people are now asking where she was taking it to and who was going to be next. However, none of this has been confirmed, and people who looked closer say the woman was feeding on a deer she found on the side of the road. And you must absolutely not do this, as people who do this can face serious illnesses.
Yo, she's eating raw chicken. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Is the blue cat over there still here?
I don't know.
Oh.
Is that good?
What?
Does that taste good?
Tastes delicious.
It's delicious? Okay. What the fuck?
Alright YouTube, that was the video. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 2. We got some more on the way. I hope you guys aren't out there eating raw chicken. This was Around the Web. Thanks for taking a trip with me, and I'll see you next time. Peace.